Hi, everyone. Welcome to Brief Banter. This is our podcast where we talk about current events, legal issues, and anything else that strikes our fancy. I'm here with our co-host, Dawn DeMeo.
Hi, all. How are you?
And as you can see, Dawn, for some reason, is holding the microphone like Kermit the Frog, giving a special news bulletin. But anyway, you continue to hold that microphone just like
I
that.
like it like this.
All right, then there we go. And for our first podcast, we are blessed to have an amazing guest. We have an attorney from Duane Morris, an immigration attorney expert. Her name is Valentine Brown. Valentine, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks, Derek, for having me. I'm excited to be here today and talk to you all about immigration. Just a little bit about me. I've been practicing immigration law for 30 years. So I have seen a lot over that time period, a lot of changes, a lot of different administrations. Duane Morris is an international law firm, and I'm part of the employment law group there. We have a wonderful immigration practice representing lots of large corporations. We do business immigration. We also have a very large pro bono practice where we do humanitarian immigration, represent people in removal proceedings, people getting detained right now by ICE, lots of victims of domestic violence, refugees, asylees. So I've really had a chance to be involved in the full panoply of immigration law over the time period.
And not the politics of it, like the real world consequences of what's going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, just helping the people try to get their immigration status sorted out.
Okay.
Boots on the ground. And let's talk a little bit about how we got to know each other. So originally, I guess you were introduced to Dawn. And
Who has to do everything?
Dawn, can you talk about how you guys met?
You said get one of our attorneys who comes from France, who now works in the United States. Let's get her a citizenship. So I said, I can't do this by myself. We do employment law. So I got in touch with Valentine, and we worked together for 3 years. And we got Olivia a citizenship.
Yeah.
We did. We actually got her a green card. And so she was able to work, and very interesting story. Olivia Uzon.
And she was in the lottery.
Yeah.
She won the lottery. Very, very special circumstance, because, you have a better chance of being struck by lightning. So that lottery helped me help her, and we got it together.
And just briefly, Olivia Uzon, very interesting story. She is a French attorney for many years. And she decides to come to the United States, having a background in French law, learning all about American law, took the bar exam, and passed.
In California.
And became a lawyer. And now she's working with our office. And she is an amazing, aggressive.
And they say that the California bar is the hardest bar to pass in the United States. So that's pretty spectacular, I think. Yeah.
But I think this whole story actually illustrates a really important point about the immigration law today, which is when you do everything right, you have a wonderful employer, you have a wonderful employee, very highly skilled. Even with all of that, it still took over 3 years. She had to go into a lottery. There was no guarantee.
Correct.
She was going to get selected. All of the filing fees, the legal fees that y'all paid to get her over here, it's not a small lift. It's a heavy, heavy lift.
It was.
And I mean, the law is like that for everyone.
Right. But Derek wouldn't know that, because Derek wouldn't even know.
Thank God Dawn took care of something in this.
But 100%. Now, just picture a common person trying to do all this. It's nearly impossible without help. And then when you have all these obstacles in the way now, it's an even bigger problem.
Absolutely.
Which brings me to, let's talk about the discrepancy in cases where people do it on their own. Let's say, oh, I looked it up on ChatGPT, or I Claude AI, I can do it myself. And they try and go the pro se by themselves approach. What are the advantages, disadvantages of actually hiring a lawyer to help you through this process versus doing it on your own?
Yeah, so think about it in 2 buckets. One is the regular bucket where you're going to immigration to apply for your green card, to apply for your citizenship. And then the other bucket is when you're actually in removal proceedings, having to defend yourself to an immigration judge and the government to try and stay here. So in both cases, having an attorney makes a huge difference. On the removal proceedings side, one of the issues now is that there's so many people that are getting put into removal proceedings. It's hard to find an attorney who will even take your case because there's such a high demand. Um, all of the statistics show that people who do have attorneys in removal proceedings are like exponentially more chance to win their case than if they don't have an attorney. So, I mean, some of the statistics I know for asylum proceedings are as high as um, if you do not have an attorney, you're like 90% likely to lose your case. Whereas if you do have attorney, you're much more likely to win.
That's a huge difference.
It's huge.
But don't forget, you're also going with small things and bigger things. There's a language barrier most of the time. And then you have to up the scale. You know certain judges. You know how the process works. Yeah. No.
Yeah. And then on the agency side, if you're applying for citizenship or you're married to a U.S. citizen and you're applying for a green card, it's a little easier there to go pro se. But now there's so many pitfalls, and if you check the wrong box on your application form, you fail to disclose a DUI, something like that can really end you up in the other bucket into removal proceedings. So the risks are really, really high not to have an attorney these days.
If you need me to marry anyone, the cues in the country, I am more than happy.
How much would you charge?
I would not charge at all. Free of charge. Free of charge if you need me. If you need me.
That's good. Charging is a better cry.
Because you're dead in. Like, how often do you have to could you get married?
I could do once a month. I mean, but
Just what you need. Speaking of which, how many husbands are we up?
I'm on my third.
How are you now?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Three's a charm.
I'm on my second. 3 will be a charm. 3 will be a charm.
You have practice.
I have practice.
So about being not represented.
Yeah.
I want to talk about a little a practice that's called notarios. So can you talk about that? And I find it terrifying because I believe a lot of these people who are coming to this country, they have no experience, they may not even speak the language, and they're going to these places. Like, what can you tell us about this?
Yeah, it's a really great public service announcement. Even the immigration agency itself really puts out a lot of PSAs about notarios. 'Cause where the idea comes from is South America. There's kind of like paralegal type professionals who are allowed to basically what we would consider practice law in those countries, and people are used to going to them and getting all kinds of things done. So in the United States, similar agencies, if you will, have been set up with people who are not trained, who are actually practicing law without a license, which as we know is a big problem here in the United States. Felony.
Right.
But they're cheaper. They speak the people's language. And some of the, they're like, oh, it's just filling out a form here, check the boxes, but they don't do the due diligence to make sure that they're not putting the client into harm's way.
And of course, they're trusting them.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a huge problem. And especially right now when people are so scared, don't know which way to turn. Attorneys are swamped. Pro bono, pro bono attorneys are like few and far between because everybody's so maxed out on their cases. So it's a difficult time right now.
So I know you also, in addition to being a paid lawyer, I mean, you got neat. You also do a fair amount of pro bono work.
Correct.
And what is your motivation behind that? How much pro bono work do you do? And there may be even some people out here who don't even know what pro bono means. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So, so every attorney, just by matter of being in the profession, has an ethical obligation to do some free legal services every year. The American Bar Association recommends 50 hours per year per attorney.
Derek.
I'm available. Let me know
He'll be doing my divorce pro bono.
each month.
Yes. Oh my goodness, you guys. So, so anyway, so what at at the large firms like Dwayne Morris, we have a whole program to encourage attorneys to do pro bono. In my case, I happen to be the pro bono partner for the firm internationally. So we do about 40,000 hours of pro bono every year. Probably 10,000 hours of that is immigration related. And then there's all we do a lot of veterans work, homeless work, all kinds of things.
Very impressive and really very loyal. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful,
You know what? Maybe we should maybe integrate something like that into the firm.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, seriously.
In fact, you also
Yeah.
handle employment law matters from time to time, right?
yeah, we don't, so we're on the,
Employer side.
on the employer side, but we help. Right now we're working on a case with a small clinic, helping them negotiate their first union contract. So, and we're doing that pro bono because it's a nonprofit clinic. So, doing women's health. So, just really depends on the issue.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, it's also important because in our area where we represent the employee, we work on a contingency fee basis.
Yeah.
So the person doesn't have to have any money in the beginning. They only have to pay an attorney fee if we win.
Right.
Versus on the employer side, if you're helping a not-for-profit or something,
Yeah.
generally there's no such thing.
Exactly.
And thank God that we have lawyers like you, like those in the pro bono program, who can help.
Well, I feel like the employment law side of ours and your immigration stuff goes hand in hand a little bit as well. We deal with a lot of rape victims and sexual assaults and women that are battered and domestically violated and just a lot of crazy stuff. So I think we help just as much as you do in a certain area.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
Yeah. So we should. I really like this pro bono idea.
Done. Sign us up.
Yeah. No, I really do. I'll speak to you more about that.
Okay.
Be
Good.
fun.
Yeah.
So let's talk about sweeping immigration changes. I mean, we have seen an upheaval of immigration policies since January of 2025. And a lot of those have taken effect in executive orders, correct?
Yep.
You mean when the big guy came in?
When the big guy, when Donald Trump took office in January of 2025, we saw a lot of changes. And can we talk about some of those changes and not just on a high level political level, but also what does it mean for you? What does it mean for you being able to help someone get a visa, get an employment visa, get a green card, become a citizen, any of those?
Yeah. So, I mean, our work actually started the day after the election in 2024 because we started getting everybody ready because based on the first Trump administration, we knew kind of where the changes were going to go because we had a roadmap from before. So we actually started getting everybody prepared at that point, making sure we had everything filed with the immigration agency that was like anything open that was ready to go was out the door before the January 20th. We prepared all of our clients with what we called an emergency package. So we made sure they had all their documents in order and they had like a little file that they would carry with them, keep a copy on their phone in case they would get stopped by ICE so they could prove who they were, what their immigration status was. So that was a huge lift. That was regular cases and all of our pro bono clients, which were even harder to do.
That's even more than the legality of it. That's like you guys protecting these people. It's, not to say it's wrong or right, but it's complete mayhem at this point. It needs to be controlled in some way.
Yeah. I mean, everybody is so scared. Even now things have, calmed down a little bit, but there's so many changes all the time. Constant questions about, especially for our business clients, is it travel, international travel? Because, everybody wants to do business travel. They want to go home to their home country to visit. So a lot of people are just too scared to even leave the country right now.
So we see these commercials from Kristi Noem, and she's saying, if you leave the country now, you will have an opportunity to come back. If not, and you have to be deported, you will never be allowed back.
Yeah.
Is that the current state? Has it always been like that, or is that something new?
So if you're ordered deported and removed from the country, in most cases you have a 10-year bar to come back. In some cases you have a 20-year bar, depending on criminal record and things like that. That's the law. In practicality, it's very hard to be able to ever come back once you've been deported from the United States. So what she's talking about is something called voluntary departure. And so what happens in voluntary departure, so there's two ways now you can take it. One is through the app, and they're actually giving people money to leave the country through the CBP1 app. And people are taking the deal and taking the money, getting the plane ticket and leaving. The other way you can take voluntary departure is in court. So if you're in immigration proceedings and you don't want to fight your case, or maybe you don't have a fight, you don't have a chance to stay, you raise your hand to the judge and say, look, Your Honor, I have my own plane ticket, I have money, I want to go on my own terms. And if you're not a flight risk and they really think you're going to leave, they'll give you 180 days to leave the country. So usually what you have to do is come back to ICE with your passport, your ticket. Sometimes they even meet you at the airport. It just depends to make sure you actually leave the country.
So what would you recommend? So right now there are millions of undocumented people in the United States. What would you recommend to these people? Do you recommend that they voluntarily deport themselves or fight, or does it depend on the circumstances?
Yeah, and the way I do my practice is I give everybody all the facts, and then they have to decide for themselves. Sometimes some clients, as you know, they want you to tell them what to do, but you really can't. I mean, everybody has millions of life circumstances. We have a case right now, a guy from Venezuela. He's been here since 2022, working at a wonderful client of ours legally, and he went to his ICE check-in and they detained him. Okay, he's been here since 2022. He's 26 years old. He doesn't want to stay detained. So he's probably going to take voluntary departure,
Go back to Venezuela.
get out. So
And who wants to go to Venezuela right now?
his whole family's here. His mom's here, his grandmom's here. He's got a bunch of cousins in California. But he's probably not going to win his case, and he's going to end up detained for a year just waiting for the proceedings to play out. So in that case, maybe for him, it's better to take the voluntary departure, give up on the fight, and go back. For somebody else, they've been here 20 years. They've got kids here. I have another client actually in Florida right now, this is her case. She's wonderful. She's been here forever, since 2004, actually. 4 U.S. citizen kids, wonderful job, et cetera, et cetera. So she's going to fight.
Oh my God! So the hardships that these people are going through, but this gentleman you were just mentioning, he's from Venezuela. That's one of the countries that Donald Trump said, "That's it. We're going to ban all people from certain countries." And correct me if I'm wrong. We've got Venezuela, Somalia, Yemen, Syria, Afghanistan, Iran,
Yeah.
a few other countries I think are in there, and
Yeah.
and so that's another new thing that Donald Trump's
Yeah.
released.
Haiti's on that list.
Yeah.
Libya, um, Sierra Leone. So, yeah, so all the bans are really confusing. So we're calling them now a visa ban. They were called a travel ban during the first Trump administration, but we're calling them visa ban just to be more specific. And what it means is that the U.S. embassies, the U.S. consulates in these countries are not giving anybody a visa. So nobody from these countries can come to this country,
Even as a tourist, even just
even as a
come see a relative.
especially as a tourist. But yes,
Okay. All right.
so, yeah. So that's a visa ban. If people from those countries are already here, their application, and they have maybe application for political asylum pending, or maybe they have a green card application pending, they're allowed to submit them, but they're just on hold right now. And the reason that the administration put everybody on hold is they're in the background, they're redoing all of their vetting procedures. So they want to, do a double, triple check, revamp how they're doing all the background checks.
It's funny, though, you said millions of undocumented. I mean, how many ICE agents are there if you had to figure? Not a million.
No, they're
So backed up. They're changing things. it's mayhem.
Yeah.
And then when you have a judge, does a judge work overtime to hear all these cases? And no.
I think she answered you with that smile.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah. I don't know the population of the ICE agents. I should, but they are increasing exponentially right now because they're in a very strong hiring mode and recruiting mode. But but the point that you raise is the immigration court.
Yeah.
So like right now, if I went in today with a new case, I'm not going to get my actual hearing date until 2027 or 2028. So, and this is Philadelphia, New York, New Jersey, all over the country. The only people who are getting fast hearings are the people who are detained. So, because they are on a fast track. But even that case, it still can be 6 months for your hearing date while you're in detention.
So ICE is not new. ICE has been around for a long time, right?
Yeah, ICE was formed when after 9/11 when they changed from INS to DHS. So that's when ICE came into it.
well, this is just so we wanted to secure the borders. Now it's turned into like all hell's breaking loose.
Yeah, well, so Immigration and Customs Enforcement was always there's like different ways to look at it, but Customs and Border Protection are the guys at the airports, right? They're the ones checking your passports when you come to the airport. They're the ones who board the cruise ships,
Okay.
inspect the trucks, looking for so those are Customs and Border Protection. So they've always been at the borders. Now they're in the interiors. That's been one of the issues in Minnesota and Chicago is that CBP is actually on the ground, not at the border. ICE has always been like the police of the immigration agencies. So they're at the borders. They're at the southern border. They were always in charge of doing all the detentions, picking up the criminal aliens after, they would serve their time in the U.S. prison. Then ICE would detain them and put them into deportation proceedings. So ICE has always been the police.
Okay. Next question. Is all of this legal? Are they allowed to do this?
I mean, do what?
Like rip people out of cars and go into people's homes, and is this legal?
I mean, some of it's legal, most of it's not legal. So there are, there's administrative warrants, which are what ICE uses to pick up an illegal alien or somebody who they, has a final order of deportation who never left the country, or somebody who's got a criminal record that they want to take into custody for removal proceedings. There's judicial warrants, right? You can get to search a house if you have probable cause for, a crime being committed or evidence.
I was always under the assumption it was dangerous people they were picking up, not just, everyday normal people.
Unfortunately, that message has gotten really
Blurry.
Blurred, and there's just a lot of just regular immigrants with no criminal record, strong ties to the country, but no status.
No status, yeah.
And sometimes they do have status, right? They've been accidentally picking up citizens too, and green card holders. So that's why we prepare all of our clients with their documents.
But by accidentally doing that, they're just still interrupting lives, and then they're still caught in the bureaucracy of it, and it could take a year, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
Really is.
And they're really impacting employers too. I mean, like our client was a guy who got detained. He was, cooking. He was their cook. Yeah. Like now he's gone. They got to find another cook. It's a huge operation they're trying to run. So not,
My brother actually owns a restaurant in Jersey, and they did come into his restaurant.
Yeah.
Looking around.
Do people have to worry about, let's say an undocumented person is in their house. They haven't committed a crime. There's no probable cause. Does ICE have the ability to just go into a house that they know is occupied by someone who is undocumented?
So it's just like Fourth Amendment law. If you let them in the house, then you've given consent. So the advice that everybody is, it's same. Unless they show you a judicial warrant at the door signed by a federal judge, you do not have to let them in. But once you do let them in, you've given permission, and and then you run into problems.
So if an ICE agent shows up at someone's house and they say, "Can I come in?" the answer should always be
No.
no.
Yeah.
Got it.
exactly. But it's very hard in the moment to do that.
Yeah, it's scary. You got like these officers sitting there. I mean, they're in tactical gear
Yeah.
and they're saying, hello, sir, can we come in?
Yeah, exactly.
I thought we were emotionally tied. You must be emotionally tied and stressed as well. I mean,
Yes.
Right. It must be heartbreaking.
yeah, it has to be. Yeah.
It's hard.
What was one of the most heartbreaking cases that you can?
Most likely when a child is taken from a parent, I would think.
I'm asking Valentine.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
I mean, yes. I mean, what's happening now is
Haha.
children are getting detained with the parents. So that's even, detention is horrible for children, as many studies have shown.
They were like, what is this, prison? Like, I mean, what is going on? Oh my goodness.
We went in 2019, we went to the border for a volunteer trip and worked at Dilley, Texas, which is one of the only family detentions centers. It's right near
Where they keep the families together.
the mom and the kids. The dads are down the road a bit in a different facility. But
How was that experience?
it was
Awful. Yeah.
Wow.
so yeah.
That's hard. So about these detentions, what are the steps? Because I know that there are legally, as a lawyer, I know there are many things that can be done, but specifically in immigration, what could be done to get these people out of detention?
Yeah, so right now, the fastest and most, successful way to get people out of detention is through habeas corpus petitions.
Right, from the Constitution.
But those are filed actually in federal district court, not in immigration court. So what happened is somebody gets picked up by ICE. They're being like, let's say they do their ICE check-in down here at 8th and Arch. So then they go to the Philly Federal Detention Center, and we run to the courthouse in the Eastern District of Pennsylvania and file a habeas petition because we want it to be in the Eastern District. So then what we're asking for to the federal judge is to force the immigration judge to give our client at least a hearing for bond. So he can, like any kind of criminal proceeding, but in the immigration court, you can also get bond, so you can be released while you're waiting for your proceedings to go on.
Has Trump affected the whole bond process at all since he took office?
Yeah, I mean, they have basically, actually January 14th, there was a memo from the chief judge of the immigration court saying that they are, anybody who ever entered the United States illegally, so anybody who crossed the southern border, even if it was 25 years ago, is not eligible to be released. They're all subject to mandatory detention. So there's no individualized determination of your risk of flight or, danger to the community, which are the two factors they look at for bond and immigration.
What conditions are these detention centers? What do they look like?
They really run the gamut. So there's been some really there's a district court judge in New York who actually documented the conditions of confinement for a bunch of immigrants up in New York, which was horrendous. Like 10 guys in a 6-foot cell for 3 days,
Wow.
right? Which was never intended for more than one person to be held during court proceedings. In Pennsylvania, they have space in a lot of the county prisons. And then there's a big processing center out in the western part of Moshannon Valley, it's called. And the conditions there are supposed to be at least, livable. But still,
They're not behind bars, though, are they?
they are behind bars.
Like criminals.
Yes.
They're considered, even if they have no criminal record, they're in these detention centers
Yeah.
being treated like criminals
Yeah.
or even sometimes worse.
And they're also getting placed in solitary confinement. They're having medical issues, like just all the things. Like, there's disciplinary.
I'm starting to get upset now.
It's really
Yeah.
hard.
I
I mean, think about my guy from Venezuela, 26-year-old kid cooking, and he's going to his ICE check-in. He's doing what he's supposed to do. His asylum is pending. He comes from a crazy country and now he's in jail. Like, or what? No criminal record, nothing.
I
His
I
mom's
think it's
freaking out.
important
His
to
grandmom's freaking out.
Now I'm very angry. Thank you for the education today.
I think it's important to mention, and I was talking about it before, that all of us, if you're not a Native American, all of us at some point came to this country
Through immigration.
through immigration.
Yeah.
I mean,
All of us.
and there's a whole concept of course, coming to the country illegally versus
Yeah.
legally,
Yeah.
and there are processes and
Yeah.
procedures, and this is something where it's very hard for a layperson, for someone who doesn't even speak the language, or even if they do speak the language, uh, to navigate. And I think it is so important.
How about the humanity of it?
I mean, the humanity is huge.
It's terrible.
It is terrible, and I feel for a lot of these people. Um, I have to say, there's a flip side to this as well. And the flip side to this is, if there are any people who are brazen criminals and who are really causing harm to other people and to the country or whatever, by all means, get them the hell out if they're undocumented. But everyone, and people don't realize this, and you know this better than I do, even if you are undocumented in the country, not a United States citizen, that the way our country works, you're entitled to the United States constitutional protection. The Constitution protects you. And people are like, "What? What are you talking about? I thought the Constitution is only for citizens, but that's not true, right?" So,
This is true. Thank goodness.
thank goodness, and that's what you were talking about, such as the writ of habeas corpus,
Mhm.
which is produce the body, and
Yep.
you've got to have a good reason.
Yep.
Like, hey, judge, they don't have a good reason to hold this person in there. Let this person out.
Exactly.
But there are other ways that we can deal with it to help get people out. Another way is the mandamus.
Mhm.
And mandamus, you were mentioning to me before the show, is what?
So a writ of mandamus is also a district court action where, when the government agency is not doing what they're supposed to do, or they're taking too long on your case, you can go to federal court and say to the judge, "Look, can you issue this writ to tell immigration, USCIS, to issue my green card, give me my interview date, let my husband have his visa out," whatever the case may be. So that is, it's kind of an extraordinary measure, but there, with everything going on right now, there's more and more action on immigration in the federal courts, because that's our last resort.
Yeah.
So as an advocate for immigrants.
So it sounds like you've got a toolbox. You got your habeas corpus. You've got your mandamus. You've got anything else that you can use in your toolbox to help get people out of detention or move through the immigration procedure more quickly?
Well, I mean, regular immigration court proceedings, posting bond, things like that. But for detention purposes, habeas is the main way to go.
Got it. What about the ombudsman?
So on the agency side, on like applying for a green card or citizenship, there's various ways that you can, we call it like shake your case loose from the agency when it's gotten stuck for whatever reason. So the ombudsman's office had always been a really good tool up until the current administration, unfortunately. But it's just like an ombudsman for your insurance agency, or there's somebody who's kind of watching over the customers, right? And making sure that the customers are well served in whatever the particular area is. So ombudsman had been usually a successful way of getting action or movement on a case that was stuck for whatever reason. But unfortunately now, the agency takes on the kind of the tenor of the administration. So they're just not friendly to immigrants right now, even immigrants that they should be friendly to. Right. So
Along those lines, and probably one of the last things that we're going to be talking about. If you could change anything, you are queen of the world, and you could, with a magic wand, let's say, change the immigration laws, procedures, whatever. What changes would you like to see instituted in immigration law, procedure, etc.?
I think that this is across the board, right? This is visa issuance at the consulates abroad, green card proceedings here, business-based proceedings, lawyers, doctors, is the discretion. So the agency has discretion built into the statutes in so many areas. And it's used, different every day. So you can take one case one day to an immigration officer and get it approved, and take the exact same case another day, even to the same officer, and get it denied. Or to a different officer and get it denied. So it's very hard. And of course, with practicing, and eventually in your local offices, you get to know the officers, you get to know the judges and how they like their cases presented, or whatever, their pet peeve is, or their favorites are. But having that much discretion with just regular, normal people who aren't that well trained, adjudicating our H-1B cases or our green card applications, it's really, really hard. So having more law that was,
Formulaic.
yes, if you meet these categories, if you've been here 5
Right.
years, you can, you pass the test, you're in.
Oh, I like that. Right. Because who knows? With all of that discretion comes discrimination.
Exactly.
Right? You could have a judge say, "Oh, I don't like people from this country.
And
I'm not doing it."
that happens all the time.
So predict the future for me. What do you think is going to happen in the coming year? Is it going to amp up? Is it going to slow down? Is it going to...
I think we're taping this right after all this stuff has been going on in Minneapolis. So, and they have started to pull back on the ICE operations there and make some changes at the leadership. So I think they are getting the message that what's been happening is like unsustainable.
Okay.
So I think that's a good sign. If that lasts, I don't know.
Okay.
I think the immigration proceedings are going to continue to, drag on and on. The court dockets are going to get longer because there's so many people now. They're adding detention beds, like 10,000 a day, I think, nationwide. And also they're adding ICE officers. So,
something that could potentially bother me too. I didn't think about this.
What's that?
So you hire an ICE agent and you do their background check and all that stuff. Who knows who's racist? You have someone on the job that could be a real bad deal.
yeah, absolutely. And they've cut down they normally had to go to like a 5-month training academy, and I think it's cut down to 47 days now.
Quick, get them out, get them on
Yep, exactly. They dropped the bachelor's degree requirement. So
Do you have a heartbeat? Are you breathing? Come on, Ellen.
yeah, I mean, so anyway, it's just so I do on the undocumented side, I think it's going to continue to be really tough and really scary.
Okay.
But I do feel like there is just, businesses, regular citizens are starting to turn the tide against these kind of severe ICE operations.
Derek, I'm leaving you. I think I can be a better help to her.
Valentine, thank you so much. I did not know how much help you would actually be here today. So thank you all for watching or listening to our first podcast. I was very happy to have you, Valentine.
Especially you, Mr. Know-It-All. He actually learned something.
Oh, a ton of stuff.
It's really good. Me too. Me as well. I thank you for that, really.
And it was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Until next time.
See ya.